Welcome to the Deep Dive. Ever wonder about those invisible gears turning behind the scenes when you apply for a job? Or maybe a loan?
Or even in, say, the legal system.
Exactly. More and more. Artificial intelligence is there, making calls. And while it promises, amazing efficiency, it carries this huge challenge. It can actually lock in, maybe even amplify, the biases we humans already have.
That's the crux of it, really.
So today, that's our mission. We want to peel back the layers on AI bias, show you what it is, sure, but also how it's already shaping things.
Real world things.
Your job prospects, loans, even how justice might be viewed.
Yeah.
We're going to look at 3 key areas where this is happening right now.
Yeah, and maybe before we dive in, it's good to just clarify what we mean by AI bias. It's not just like a computer bug.
Right.
It's more fundamental. It's the prejudice, the skew that's baked into the data we train these AI algorithms with. Think of it like historical inequality getting coded in.
Coded in.
Yeah. So this, let's call it bad data, or maybe just incomplete data. It leads to results that aren't just suboptimal, but often really unfair. And what's kind of surprising is how AI, which we think of as objective, can sometimes make these biases even stronger.
Stronger, and maybe harder to see than when it's just people making the calls.
Precisely. Harder to spot, harder to challenge sometimes.
Okay, so bad data is the key. You're going to hear how this plays out in, 3 big areas.
Yeah.
Hiring and recruitment.
Yep.
Law enforcement, and bank lending. And we'll keep highlighting what it means for, you, the individual listener.
Yeah.
Let's jump in.
Let's do it.
Okay, first up, hiring. Loads of companies now use AI filters for job applications, right?
Yep.
Especially for those jobs where they get tons of applicants. What's the big win for the company here, practically speaking?
Oh, the practical side is pretty massive. Using AI for that first sift saves an incredible amount of staff time.
Just wading through resumes.
Exactly. Instead of people reading hundreds, maybe thousands, the AI narrows it down fast. It flags a small group for actual human review. It really streamlines things.
Makes sense. So given that efficiency, how do these AI filters actually work? How do they, decide who makes the cut?
Well, they're trained to spot certain things. They look for criteria based on, say, people who've done well in the role before or specific skills they want.
Like keywords.
Keywords, yeah, or maybe the number of jobs someone's had in the last 10 years, employment gaps, things like that.
Can companies tweak these criteria?
They can, usually. Criteria can often be adjusted for a specific job, but there's usually a core set of rules that kind of stays constant across different roles within the company.
And this is where the legal stuff gets tricky, right? Because you've got laws against discrimination, age, gender.
Absolutely. Companies have to be really careful not to fall foul of anti-discrimination laws.
So how does AI make that harder? You mentioned the black box thing. Is it tougher to check if an AI is being discriminatory compared to an old school checklist?
Yeah, that's a really key point. With a simpler non-AI filter, maybe just some basic keyword spotting, it's relatively straightforward to see what it's doing. You can check the rules, change them easily.
Okay.
But with complex AI, especially machine learning, it's often described as a black box.
Right. Let's unpack that. Give us an example. Say we're building an AI to hire a mechanical engineer. And we only feed it data on our current star performer, Tom Smith, 42, male qualified engineer. What happens?
Well, the immediate result is bias, straight away. The AI learns successful engineer, male, 42, qualified. So it would likely start rejecting anyone who doesn't fit that very narrow profile. It might screen out brilliant female engineers or maybe really promising younger candidates just because they don't look like Tom on paper.
And you can't easily see why it rejected them inside the box.
That's the black box problem. You see the input, the resume, and the output, the yes or no, but the actual decision-making process, potentially millions of tiny calculations, is hidden. It's not a simple rule you can point to. It's this complex web, which makes figuring out the exact reason for decision incredibly difficult, sometimes even for the people who design the system.
Wow. Makes you think, how many good people are getting filtered out by these invisible walls? So, okay, what's the solution then? How do we fix this bias in AI hiring?
Fundamentally, it comes down to the data. You need to feed the system much, much wider, more diverse data from the start.
To teach it a broader definition of good candidate.
Exactly. That helps select better candidates overall, and importantly, it helps companies avoid, legal challenges from people who were unfairly rejected.
It's not like bias in hiring is totally new, though, is it? Humans have been biased for ages.
Oh, absolutely not new. Discrimination in recruitment is an old problem. We've tried tackling it before with things like really strict objective criteria, or having multiple people on interview panels to try and balance out individual biases.
So any new ideas coming out of the research for the AI era?
Well, one interesting thought is maybe using more than one type of AI filter, kind of like getting a second opinion for redundancy.
Interesting.
And critically, making sure that the AI's output, its recommendations, are always reviewed by a human before any final decisions get made. Keep the human in the loop.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's shift gears now from getting a job to the justice system. Now, we don't have RoboCop on the streets yet.
Not yet, thankfully.
But AI is already being used behind the scenes, isn't it, in courts, assessing the risk of someone reoffending.
Yes, it is. And again, we hit the same fundamental issue. These systems are only ever as good as the data they learn from.
So if the historical crime data itself reflects biases,
then the AI learns those biases. For example, if certain neighborhoods or demographic groups have historically been policed more heavily, leading to more arrests, the AI might learn to associate those groups with higher risks.
even if the underlying crime rate isn't actually higher.
Potentially, yes. It's basically training the AI to replicate and maybe even automate existing prejudices found in the data. This could lead to things like predictive policing algorithms targeting certain areas more, or suggesting harsher assessments for some groups.
You know, thinking about bias in court, in the UK, they don't tell juries about someone's past convictions. Why is that relevant here?
That's a really good parallel. It's done precisely to avoid prejudice, right? To make sure the jury focuses only on the evidence for the current case, not past behavior.
Okay.
So now imagine replacing that careful human process, or even just heavily influencing it, with an AI system. If that AI is a black box, and we can't be sure it isn't biased based on historical data about groups rather than the individual, well, it becomes a legal minefield.
A minefield. Because someone could be denied parole, or maybe get a longer sentence suggestion, based not just on their specific case, but on bias patterns the AI picked up.
That's the deep concern. It moves from being a theoretical risk to having a direct, potentially devastating impact on someone's life and liberty based on potentially skewed data.
Heavy stuff. Okay, let's move to our third area where AI is maybe even more embedded right now. Finance, specifically bank lending.
Oh, definitely. Finance has adopted AI quite significantly. There was a big survey in 2024, Bank of England and the Financial Conduct Authority.
What did that find?
At this, 75%, 3/4 of UK financial firms are already using AI or machine learning, and another 10% are planning to start soon.
Wow. Is it making all the decisions, though? Fully automated?
Not entirely. Only about 2% of the uses were reported as fully autonomous. But, and this is key, 55%, so over half of all the ways they're using AI involve some level of automated decision-making.
Okay, so it's definitely influencing the process. But here's something striking you mentioned from that survey. A lot of firms don't fully grasp the tech they're using.
That's right. Nearly half, 46% of the firms, admitted they only had a partial understanding of the AI models they were deploying.
Partial understanding. That sounds risky in finance.
It is a concern, and part of the reason is that about a third of the AI systems they use actually come from third-party vendors.
Ah, so they didn't build it themselves.
Exactly. They might have limited or even no access to the underlying code or the data it was trained on. So it's not surprising that when these firms were asked about the risks, guess what was in the top 5?
Let me guess. Data bias.
You got it. Data bias was named as one of the top 5 current risks they perceive with using AI.
So they know it's a problem. And there's specific research backing this up too, isn't there? Something from the University of Bath.
Yes, that Bath research is quite recent and revealing. They looked specifically at loan applications. They found that discrimination against women, which unfortunately can already exist in lending, actually got worse when AI was used by the lenders.
Worse, not better.
Worse. It really highlights that just putting AI in charge doesn't automatically make things fairer. It can amplify existing issues if you're not careful.
But the research also suggested something else, didn't it? A kind of upside to tackling this bias.
Yes, and this is fascinating. Reducing bias isn't just, the right thing to do ethically. The Bath research suggests it could actually be good for business.
How so?
Well, think about it. If your bank's AI is fairer and doesn't unfairly reject certain groups, you might actually tap into a whole pool of creditworthy customers that other banks still using bias systems are turning away.
So less bias could actually mean more customers, more profit.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
It's a double win. Fairer system for applicants and maybe even a competitive edge for the bank.
Is there anything specific being done in finance to make the AI less of a black box?
There is progress. One concept gaining traction is called Whitebox explanations.
Whitebox, like the opposite of black box.
Exactly. The idea is to design or use AI systems that can explain their reasoning in a way humans can understand. So instead of just getting a loan approved or loan denied from the algorithm.
You get the why.
Yeah, the system provides transparent reasons. It allows bank staff to actually see the main factors driving the AI's risk assessment for each specific application. It brings transparency back into the process.
That sounds crucial. Okay, so we've looked at hiring, law enforcement, lending, pulling it all together. What's the big takeaway here?
Well, I think it's clear AI is incredibly powerful, right? A really useful tool.
Definitely.
But it really only delivers on its promise when it's used thoughtfully, responsibly, set up carefully.
It's not magic.
Not at all. And if we connect this back to the whole issue of bias, there's no easy fix. There's no silver bullet for curing bias in AI.
Any more than there is for curing it in humans, I suppose.
Precisely. It's a complex, deeply rooted problem, whether it's in a person's head or coded into an algorithm. It's not something we'll solve overnight.
But things are improving, presumably. We're getting better at spotting it, managing it.
I think so. Like with most complex technologies, progress tends to be incremental, step by step. It requires constant vigilance, doesn't it? Regular auditing, checking the data, refining the models, continuous improvement.
Constant vigilance sounds right. So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. AI is playing a bigger and bigger role in really critical parts of our lives, our jobs, our money, even justice. Given that, what responsibility do we all have, perhaps, to start questioning the black box, to demand a bit more transparency in these systems that have such a big impact?
That's a powerful question to end on. What is our role in ensuring this technology serves us all fairly? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Please feel free to click on the link in the description below to discover more podcasts.